Hey, and the chat bot just popped up. But anyway, why did it just get so dark? Okay, here we go. Anyway, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the DOP Podcast. It's your boy KickRocks268 once again, back with the Polynesian warrior Yoshi. Today it's just the two homies, so it's gonna be a lot of me telling you what you should think and a lot of you thinking that I should shut up. But it's fine. We can work with that. So how's your week been? How's your past weekend?
I'm just trying to keep my
Going on
sanity,
with
man.
you?
You know that unemployment life. Know how it goes, or don't know how it goes.
Yeah, shit, there's a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot more just stepped out of that building too. It seems like y'all don't know. I used to work at Honeywell.
Hey.
Drop.
Fucking but speaking of that shit, so MSNBC, I'm assuming, is one of the news stations that support Trump. I don't know which ones do, which ones don't anymore. But they came out with a story, and they were like, 4.8 million jobs were created, bringing the unemployment rate down to 11%. Right?
Okay.
And then obviously Trump had his White House meeting. He's like, yeah, the job market is booming, even though COVID-19 is still a thing, blah, 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 right? So I went and read the report, like the actual report.
Yeah.
In the report, it stated the 4.8 million jobs came from companies who had laid people off temporarily and stopped laying them off. But for people who are on long-term unemployment, it actually went up. So the 4.8 million jobs weren't created per se. They were there and just given back to the 4.8 million people who had them. So like they were on furlough pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if y'all gonna tell the story, tell it right. Don't just put it out there and try to make it seem like,
Oh, that's your job now, ain't it?
the shit just came out the blue. Like I read the whole thing. It was like long-term disability between the two ranges, like date ranges. One was like 12 to 24 months. The other one was 24 months and above. Actually went up like 8%. It went up a combined 1.3 million people. So another 1.3 million people are on long-term unemployment.
Yep.
Fucking yo.
I'm on the second round, sadly enough.
I had to post it on Facebook and tell people like, yo, don't let them try to trick you. Don't let them try to get you. Don't let them try to get you. You got to read, man. Don't just believe what you hear or what you listening to. You got to read. They can't lie on those documents. That's black and white print.
Go ahead and share that same mentality with all your brethren, my good sir.
Hey, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
All right.
Oh, man.
We're
talking about today?
We're trying some new things. So I left it up to the spinning of the wheel.
The spinning of the wheel.
Can
you just play such a wheel?
Well, I did not place such a wheel just yet. So whatever comes up on the screen comes up on the screen.
Oh, should I be watching said wheel?
You probably should. Nah. You already know most of it.
I want to watch said wheel.
Oh, well, there's no wheel. It just pops up. You get what you get.
Oh,
so whenever you want to start the topic, the first topic will just pop up. I even put a little attachments on there so you can actually see the video. Since somebody wanted to dispute some real controversial topics, apparently today, they will be posted up. You can see it. You can stop me. It's the live video. You want me to stop it? Give me a minute. Put it there. Whatever you want.
No, go ahead. Let's go. Let's see what
let's see what we got on the first topic. You got your screen open? Your screen. All right, what we got? All right. There you go. First one of the day, straight out the gate. KKK Grand Wizard. Why?
There was no way this was random. Oh, go ahead and play it. Play
It's random enough, man.
Play it there. Play it. Go ahead. Play the video.
I'm not a bigot. I don't hate anybody, but I'm a racist. A racist is somebody that loves their race and loves their people.
Oh.
All right, Stephen. Stephen, where'd you grow up? Where are you from?
Oh, wait, never mind.
I grew up in New Albany, Mississippi.
Where'd you grow up? Tell me from.
Oh, wait. His name is Steven, just like you.
I mean, that's where you got me trapped there, man. You got me trapped.
Gotta put my headphones on for this. Hold on.
Oh man, see now we the same right here. You guys get the live production version of this. Edit.
All right, let's go.
I mean, does it look good so far, man? I mean, it is.
Nah, man, we lit.
Your
We
parents
good.
growing up as a kid?
My dad wasn't
You
really
let me
in my
know
life
when
that
to
much. My dad was a Vietnam veteran. He had a lot of health issues. He wasn't in my life a lot. I think my dad got in my life when I was about 16 years old. And my mother practically raised me and my brother herself. And, also, I had a mother that was a very strong religious woman.
See, so far.
He
so
skip
far,
past
so-
this boring shit.
What more shit? This is the start. This is the. I mean,
I don't care. I don't care about
where you
this
want?
man's lifestyle.
Where you want? Where you want? Right in the middle? Right there in the green?
I had left the Mississippi White Knights for a little bit and started the North Mississippi
hear
White
him.
Knights. But now we're going to bring it back. We're going to get everything situated again, get the
See, he
collaborations in
left
order,
the
and
Klan
start everything
just to
back
come
over
back.
again. So I've just moved back from Portland, Oregon. So I've got
See?
I was. I lived there for 4 years. It's
From
very-
Oregon. Clan members live in
But
Oregon.
I did love it. I love the weather. I
They're
love the
everywhere.
beauty. And there's a
See?
lot of white
This is
people
good,
there,
man. Just a good
but
man.
they're liberal-minded. They have no idea.
Your facial expressions are losing it there.
I mean, I don't.
I mean, where we trying to hit? Where we trying to
I
hit?
mean,
You trying to
he
go-
ain't. Where is he? What is he talking about? Like, let's get to the juiciness of it. I don't. This nigga giving his backstory. I don't care where
Homeland.
he came from, bro.
Give them where they need to go.
Grand Wizard.
Give them just as
sound
much
like a
rights as a
fucking
white man
wild
does.
character.
I like the Ku Klux Klan to instill the
what are you
children and
talking
the
about?
people
We
that
want
want to
that.
join to teach
Oh, we're
them
going forward to
that
it.
There's a greater cause. There's
know
a
what you
greater
want me to
cause.
rewind
Being a
to.
Klansman is
We're
one of the
getting
greatest
there.
things in the world. I mean, it's I love it. I wouldn't take anything for it. And am I judged? I don't give a shit. That's one thing about me. I don't care what anybody says about me. You can judge me. You can say anything you want about me. It doesn't affect me. Because the minute that a person takes time out of their day to judge me and say I'm wrong or I'm this and that means I've got to them. I've affected them. Because I don't give a shit what anybody else does. I don't.
Just remember that.
How stupid are you, bro? All right, no, hold on. Look,
Here you go. Spark the flame.
the fact that you're a part of an entire organization whose entire purpose is to oppress Black people.
No.
Yes,
Separate.
that's what it is.
Separate.
Suck my dick to oppress Black people. I don't give a fuck what you say. That means that just a Black person being born affects your life.
All right. Yeah.
If we're gonna go off of his logic. So in actuality, he's not affecting anyone because he's reacting to people like me. To people like you, yes.
We ain't come up and shake his hand.
No, but I'm saying but he's a Klan member, and they are more worried about people like us than themselves. So for him to think that, oh, if you judge me, I've affected your life. I affected your life just by being Black. When I wake up, I affect your life. That's it. That's it. Every Black person that wakes up in Mississippi affects his life because his sole purpose is to keep us separated.
I think you just missed over the whole section that specifically stated that you don't care. You don't come up to him, he don't bother.
No, what I'm saying is his mindset of if he's saying if I judge him, right? He's touched a part of me because I took the time out to judge him for what he does. Right? That's what he said. Well, what he does is solely based on minorities. The Klan is not out there attacking white people. You see what I'm saying? The Klan historically has attacked black people, have attacked minorities. They were formed because of the minority presence in this country. So him being a Grand Wizard of the KKK, meaning every day a black person wakes up, it affects him mentally because he has to come up with a way for that black person to stay separated from the rest of the white people.
I think we're getting up to that point.
So I affect your whole life and I don't even know you. But after I judge you, I don't give a fuck about you after that. So whose life is really more affected? Mine for judging you, or yours just because of the fact that I can eat, sleep, and breathe and walk the same planet and breathe the same air as you?
But see, that's the controversy.
And fuck as many white girls as will let me.
You're complaining that you can't walk around free and easy and clear because of that reason.
I didn't say walk around free, easy, and clear. I said just the fact that I breathe the same air that he breathes and live in the same country that he lives in and intermingle with white people who he feels I shouldn't intermingle with. His whole life's purpose is to stop me from doing that.
See, I think you missed that whole thing because that's why he's placed this image, is because he's separating from that whole overall object.
He can't, because that's the whole reason the KKK exists.
Okay, so here's that whole mentality of bundle everybody up versus that one person that's trying to change.
No, he says he fell in love with the KKK as a child. He said he's always known he was going to be a part of the KKK. He feels that the KKK is right. He's just saying he doesn't care how people feel about him. He's not denouncing the KKK teachings. He's just saying he don't care that I don't give a fuck about him.
That's the catch is there. That is what he's saying. Is he is slightly changing his the image of how the KKK is perceived. Later on he says that because of how things change progressively, the KKK has to also change as well.
Yeah, but he also later on he also likens the KKK to Al Qaeda and the Taliban, which are worldwide known terrorist groups. What does a terrorist group do?
Man, you're dangerously close to freaking everybody
They cause terror to get their point across.
Man, okay, so with that being said, Black Lives Matter can fall into that same thing too.
Right, no, because they're not terrorizing people.
They're terrorizing cities. They're changing.
No, they're not.
They actively are.
They're not.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
Oh yeah, let me put up the videos of the burnings and all that stuff. That's just a start of fire.
That's arson. They're not killing people. The KKK terrorized people. They killed people. They hung people. They burned people's houses down for the purpose to say, hey, listen to what we say or we're going to come and get you. Rioters now, they're just crimes of opportunity. The actual protesters aren't out there saying, we're going to burn this shit down so you listen to us.
I mean, I could pull up plenty of videos and say people.
Yes, and there's been a definite separation between the two. It's people who have been wanting to group them together to negate the actual message of it. When has the KKK's message ever been the inclusion of all people? Never. He says it in his video that white people are superior to every other race of people. That's the basis of racism. So how is he changing the KKK if the bases are still there? If the core bases are still there, what's he changing? The fact that the KKK don't give a fuck that we don't like them? Guess what? We don't give a fuck that they don't give a fuck that we don't like them.
But you do, because you're making the scene of it. So apparently there is an effect to it. Cause and effect. Just because he exists, there is a rumble between the others.
No, because put it this way. If the KKK did not push the topic of racism as one of their main platforms of existing, no one would have a problem with the KKK. If the KKK came out tonight and said, hey, you know what? We want to include everybody. We agree that everybody's equal and we're done with that bullshit. No one gives a fuck about the KKK anymore. That's a change. But to say that you just going to change the mindset that we as a KKK don't give a fuck how you feel about us because we're going to feel the way that we feel and continue to preach what we've always preached. All you're telling us is you don't give a fuck what we think, and that's fine. You don't have to. But as long as you keep pushing the issue of racism as one of your pillars of your organizational group, it's always going to be controversial. So it's not the KKK, it's the fact of what they perceive. The same with a Confederate flag. It's what the flag is perceived as. That's the issue. It's not the flag itself. No one gives a fuck about the flag. Because flip the script. Let's say the Confederate flag was the flag of the side who won the Civil War. Then guess what? We don't care. Fly it as high as you want to. But that's not the symbolism behind it. The thing is that people who get upset about the KKK, it's what they symbolize. If they didn't symbolize racism, they didn't symbolize a terrorist group, we wouldn't care. I mean, look at the Black Panthers. When our government back in the day looked at them as terrorist groups, what happened? They dismantled them. The Black Panthers that are here now, they're older, they're quiet, they're not like they were back in the day because they were crippled and taken out of the equation. So now today, they're really a non-factor. But in this video, he's saying the Klan members are everywhere. They're still actively doing their thing. So that's the problem. Black Panthers were considered a terrorist group. They got taken out. The KKK, to most people, is considered a terrorist group, except the government. And they're able to still do what they do. That's the issue. Him not caring, him not giving the fuck, I don't care. A lot of people don't give a fuck. Don't make him special. Shit.
Be careful with that.
When this topic is over, guess what? I'm no longer gonna give a fuck.
It's been 3 weeks and we've been pretty much revolving around the same damn topic.
Right, but I'm not gonna be talking about him. Racism, I give a fuck about. Him, after this is I give a fuck. I heard that his ex-wife was black anyway, so fuck that nigga. Everything he says is fucking null and void.
Oh, she was Asian or something, I think.
She wasn't white. That's all I know. She wasn't white. And he says that he feels that you should date within your race. He says that in that video.
He says you shouldn't mix breed.
So stay within your race.
He doesn't care, but he doesn't want mixed breeding.
So he wants people to date whoever they want to, but only fuck people of the same skin color.
At the last,
how does that work?
Okay, it happens now and everywhere.
Okay, so let's say, according to his logic, you were married to a white girl, all right? To him, that's okay as long as y'all ain't fucking.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be married to a woman?
As long as I don't, give birth to a Milano mixed kind of thing.
Okay.
That's his.
You gonna be married and that's gonna be your thing? If you had no kids.
That's the same thing as a lot of people. I mean, it's optional. You trying to make that's what I'm trying
naive,
to say.
It's naive to think that won't happen. It's naive to think that two people who love each other, who are in a relationship, will not try to have kids.
That happens. I mean, it's the newest generation.
I didn't
People
say
out
it
here-
don't happen. I said
But
it's
that's the
naive to
exact-
think that it would never happen. And based off what he says, it would never
Now
happen.
you're just stretching.
That's what you
Now
said. You said as long as they're
fine-tuning.
not having kids. That's what you said, right?
Okay, now we're living in imagination land. And we're
Okay,
into your-
so what I said is two people who are in love in a long-term relationship, it's naive to think that they would never think about not having kids. I'm not saying that they will have kids.
Ooh, it doesn't
I'm
even-
saying, right. And if they think about it, they're probably going to try it. So it's naive to live in a world where that's going to be the norm, is what I'm saying.
Not an issue.
I mean, shit, we got laws now that people don't give a fuck about breaking. What do you think somebody... You broke laws. How many times you smashed a bitch while you were in the Marine Corps and you didn't do a missionary?
I plead the fifth. Simple as
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Simple as
Because
that.
because the
No,
rules
law.
stated any other position other than missionary is considered sodomy.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's that shit that can be changed too.
Well, when they change it, then they'll change it.
Say,
But until
we
then,
always gotta hope for somebody else to change it. That's the concept. Always hope for somebody else to change it. Let somebody else.
I don't
change
care. I'm gonna
Yeah,
hit
you
it from
don't
the
care
back
now.
regardless, whether it's against the law or not.
it. Your representative. Right here.
Shit. I'm just saying it's naive to think that's a possibility. I'm not saying it don't happen. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying it's very naive to think with the billions of people in the world.
Okay, and when it
It doesn't
happens,
ever
then it
happen.
happens. There's billions of people. He just wants a small town full of his people.
He got a whole world full of his people. If they all can congregate to one town, I'm for it. We can call it KKK America. They can have their own little shits.
Yeah. And then, God forbid, let the black community get prized because they got their own shits. Oh well, the white people got their own area. Why can't we?
Nah,
That's exactly how it's happening.
black people off that.
Bullshit.
We done gave up. We done gave up on that.
No, because
We
now
done
there's
gave up
colleges
on
out
that.
there specifically blocking areas where it's only black dorms, and the people that are complaining, the black people, they're the ones wanting those type of dorms. God forbid we just did segregation back in so many years ago to make sure everybody's all together. Now they want to separate. Where's the limit?
What are you talking about? I've heard of none of this.
That there's that there's locations where black people want specifically black dorms. Tennessee got one over there. I can pull up a couple here.
It's
Sean.
fucking Tennessee, one of the most racist states in the country. I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, so why do they? So all this time we got segregated. Now they want to separate. Okay, God forbid they give an all white dorm. Then there's bitch in there. Ain't never no pleasing anything.
I don't think if that's the case, I don't think they're bitching. I think it's more along the lines of they just don't want to have white people around them.
No, they put the legal sense of their safety is concerned.
That's what cops do before they shoot an unarmed dude. I was afraid
That's
of
a whole different world.
But it's the same thing. Safety is safety.
It's a cop versus a civilian.
It's a
Two
cop
different
with a
worlds.
gun against a civilian without a gun, and it's civilian black kids who want to protect themselves against civilian white kids. If a cop can do it and he's armed, why can't a civilian do it when they're unarmed?
They did. That's what I'm saying.
I'm
They-
not even bringing color into it. All I'm saying is, right, but that's what I'm saying. You said they said legally for their safety. If a cop can do it in a situation where he's normally not in danger, why can't a civilian do it?
Okay, so we'll go
Taking
back to
race,
that.
taking
Let's-
race out of it, just that sole purpose.
That is the purpose, is the race. That is 100% the reason why they wanted to go separate, is because they're black. But God forbid that the white people say that. Remember, this is how it was back in the day. Now, white people perceive their safety against black people. Oh, so you're saying it's okay now because black people will do it, but white people can't do it. When do you?
White people didn't do it for their safety.
Yes, they are. They didn't know what you were black people capable of. They didn't know that.
When there were laws put in place that said a black man was 3/5 of a person, that has nothing to do with safety. When there are laws stating that a black man cannot go into a white establishment, that has nothing to do with safety.
White man can't go into a black establishment. White man can't go into a black dorm. That is legitimately
That's not
the
what
argument.
you said.
That's
said
the argument. This facility is the dorm
for just black people.
Yes.
Okay.
So a white man can't go into this dorm now. That's the catch. Oh, because white people now did it back in all these years. Black people, uprise. Now black people get their option to do the same thing, and now freaking white, it's okay.
See, and that's why black people don't like having these conversations, because people love to go back and be like, well,
but
you guys didn't like it.
What it was.
You guys didn't like it when the white people did it, so why is it okay that you do it? And that's a one-sided argument, because you have to take it in context of the purpose behind it.
Okay.
Never at one time was it ever said that it was for the safety of white people. It was for the prosperity of white people.
Safety as well.
Pull up any documentation by a Confederate general. It was never for safety. It was for the oppression of another race.
Part of it, yes. Beyond that, you will find that there was safety because you guys were unknown, unpredictable.
We were unknown and unpredictable because they came and got us from a place they had no idea about, and brought us somewhere where we had no idea, and they were beating the fuck out of us. So yes, if you get a dog from the pound and the past owner beat it, right? Mm-hmm. You don't know nothing about that dog, but you're gonna try to love that dog, right? If that dog attacks you because he was beat by the last person, is that the dog's fault? Or is it the last owner's fault that the dog reacted that way and all you did was try to love it?
All right, I'll give you that one.
Humans act the same way. If you got beat up by a bunch of white kids all the time growing up, you would be cautious around white people. Or if it was black people or Asian people.
No,
or
LeBron James said that thing. You know that.
I don't know.
You know that he said that he was scared of white people all of his life. But then when he interacted with them in a college sense, he didn't know why he was scared.
Right.
Perception of your own it's what you give it. So you're assuming negativity. Then when you finally find out, so he had to wait, 20 years for him to find out, black people ain't that bad?
Right. But that's
white people ain't that bad?
That's what I'm saying. When white people were doing segregation, it was a persona put upon black people that wasn't true. So they came up with segregation and all those laws and so on and so forth. Black people are doing it now because they see it. It might not be the white kids that they interact with on a daily basis, but they don't know. That's why the whole if you're silent thing, people are not talking to you or trying not to talk to you or leaving you alone, because they don't know where you stand. So right now I'm going to group with who stands with me so I know I'm straight. So in that college, it might be, I don't know what college you're talking about. It might be that way. So that might be why they're doing it. That's why I say context goes a long way. If you're going to include all the outside stuff, you have to include context. For example, the kid who raped the chick in Stanford, right? He got off, but that's not the point. That chick, right? Whenever she goes to a party, if she ever goes to another party, she's going to be super guarded. Any guy who tries to talk to her, regardless of race, she's going to shut him down. He can be the nicest fucking guy in the world, treat her like a queen. She won't give him the time of day because of what happened. That's all this is. Segregation, white people were like, we heard black people were this way, keep them away from us. We're better than them, fuck them. Black people are like, we see a bunch of white people out there killing black people. Black guys are being hung from trees. We know ain't no black dude about to hang himself from a tree. And no suicide shit. It's I'm not going to say never, but it's a very small chance that a black person hangs himself in public. In public. Now, if it was behind closed doors at his house, I can agree. All right, suicide. But in public, that's a little hard to believe. So they're doing what they feel they can to protect them. So we'll do it that way. If the whites did it for protection back in the day, they're doing it for protection back in the day, and there's nothing wrong with each other with people trying to protect themselves. And we'll look at it that way. Instead of looking at it as a racism thing or a segregation thing, we'll look at it as a protection thing. Because if you look at it negatively, you're always going to have a back and forth. So look at it from the positive perspective.
Yeah, that's the issue. No, not everybody is looking at it the positive perspective. And that's why we have all these issues now where, now people are being scared of black people across the board because, God forbid, because if they're not on their side, they're on the bad side.
Yeah.
So my opinion is I'm for you or I'm evil. So if I even have an individual thought, I'm evil.
No, I don't. Well, there are some people who are like that. So I can't say no.
That is pretty much the majority of the cast right now. No, because that is the full movement. Is if you're not for us, you are a racist. You are
no. That is not true. That is not true. That is not true. People saying your silence is compliance, meaning if you don't pick a side, you're not an ally because you didn't pick a side.
See, already. So an individual can be like, I'm just trying to get out of this area. Y'all fight your own business.
But no, you can. You just can't take it as something negative. If me and you don't see eye to eye on a major subject, and I decide that I don't want to talk to you because of that, that doesn't mean I don't like you as a person. I just don't need that thought process in my head. If we can't have a conversation about it, it doesn't matter if we agree or disagree. If we can't have a conversation, then what's the point?
This is the rarity, okay? This is the 1%. This is the 1%.
The majority.
No, yes, I can go down the same block right now, and let's talk between you and me. I got definitely more darker area than you.
See, you're talking about the random people that you see on the street. That's what I'm talking about.
That is legitimate.
But that's not what I'm talking about. When you say Black Lives Matter, the movement, I'm talking about the actual people at the forefront of the movement, the people who do the organizing, the people organizing the protests, the people talking to the government, the people talking to their senators and their mayors and their fucking city officials. Those people, they're not on some, just if you don't agree with me, you're racist. This is where I stand. Where do you stand? If you don't have a stance, I got to move to the next person because I'm trying to get people in my corner. If you have an opposite stance and you're willing to talk about it, then let's talk about it and try to come to an agreement. If you're not willing to talk about it, there's no point to have that conversation. So I'm moving on. The regular people in the street who are just kind of riding the wave, and people say, that's the majority because that's the people they run into all the time. They're on their own shit. I don't even agree with them. I'm talking about the actual core base of the Black Lives Matter movement. When I talk about Black Lives Matter, I'm talking about the intellectuals who are in charge, not fucking Leroy from down the street who hated white people since he was 2 years old. No. And that's the thing. People need to learn that there's a difference. When you go out there and you go to look for the information, there's a difference between Leroy from down the street and Michael, who's fucking in college leading the Black Lives Matter movement from the front. They're not the same.
I mean, idolizing one person big. I mean, you got George Floyd being idolized like hell, so I don't get how that's all.
How is he being idolized? He's not being idolized.
Shrines, shirts, all types of shit as a hero.
That's black people in general. If Tekashi 6ix9ine died today, all of his black fans are gonna go out and put a memorial by his last house and put T-shirts on. That's just what black people do.
That goes well with Black Lives.
That's just what black people do. Dang. When someone who's prominent in our community dies, the community in which he was a part of
So
horns in that way.
The big man that freaking sold drugs across freaking all the freaking where he come from, Texas, or where was the last place he came from?
What does that have to do with
George Floyd?
anything?
That's what I'm just giving an example. Idolizing.
What does that have to do with anything?
That he's getting idolized, and he
and the people who idolize Trump, who had Mexicans build buildings for him for less than minimum wage, what should they feel bad too?
They got a
the
job.
They
got better wages than they would have back home. I think that's the thing that's misunderstanding is.
What does that have to do with anything? It's still slave labor. People got on Nike when they found out Nike had the sweatshops in India.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. What does it matter what people are doing? Apparently, it don't matter. If I want to celebrate the life of somebody and just the positive parts, I can do that. You could be a fucking drug kingpin. I could have known you for my entire life. You could have killed 200 people. But if you were to die, I don't care about the 200 people that died.
He's being idolized.
I care about our
he
interaction.
Is the top portion of that movement.
No, he's just the latest catalyst. Okay, what about Tamir Rice? When Tamir Rice died and Black Lives Matter came about, what about that little kid's life? We gonna look at and be like, oh, well, he was selling candy behind the school without permission. Like, what does that mean,
candy
bro?
versus drug are two different things. Sorry.
No, but selling
when you're selling drugs to your own black community and
illegal,
fucking them,
illegal is illegal.
Yeah, illegal versus killing people versus.
Okay, and how they get there? And how did drugs get in the black community? Since you want to bring it up, how did drugs get in the black community?
He brought it him damn self.
No, how did they get there?
Here's the favorite one that you're gonna say that white people brought in the community.
How? No, how? How did drugs get into the black community?
He cook it? I don't know.
Well, you should research and it'll tell you, because the drugs in this country actually came from the government during the deal they had with Mexican drug cartels to place drugs in lower income neighborhoods in hopes that they would dope themselves up and kill each other so they wouldn't have to deal with it. That's a true thing.
His drugs.
That's legally documented. That's legally documented.
Not his drugs.
That's where it started.
Is the one that he could have ended it.
That's where it started.
He could have ended it. So, just because
the government could have ended it if they wouldn't have done it in the first place.
So, instead of being the bigger people, y'all just keep on, progressing to the point where going backwards pretty much. We're making the big circle right now.
That's the whole point of systematic oppression.
Hey, you press yourself?
Oh my God. Anyway.
The joke's on that, man.
No, there's not. You obviously haven't actually researched the reason why things are the way they are. So to have this conversation, you're going to have an open mind on the actual things that are out there for people to find that are actual fact that has happened, that people have admitted to. And then you're going to have to take that and apply that to.
Well, now I got to bring this. Now I got to bring the history. The time that you tell me not to bring the history, now I got to bring the history. All right.
No, it depends on what you're talking.
No.
Depends on what you're talking about.
Not really. I mean,
it does. And I accepted your history of segregation in the last topic, and I changed it to protection in order to come to a middle ground across both sides. So no, I'm not telling you not to bring in your history. I'm saying context goes a long way. So if you're going to start bringing up drugs and how drugs get distributed through the black community, you have to talk about how drugs got into the black communities in the first place. Because when the slaves were freed, drugs weren't a problem in the black communities. That came after Jim Crow, after Black Wall Street, as another way to make sure the lower income minority populations of the country did not have a good chance of making it out of their current situation. It's worded exactly that way. The whole war on drugs things was they were funneling drugs into lower income ghetto neighborhoods, as they were called, in hopes that they would get doped up and either OD and die or kill themselves over drugs. That's how drugs for every fucking community got into this country. Because what do you think's gonna happen? You have a bunch of drugs and you ain't got no money. You see a bunch of white people that like doing drugs and got a whole lot of fucking money. Gangs in New York, Al Pacino. They make movies about it all the time. That's how it happened, but it all stemmed from that one government plot to try to oppress lower income neighborhoods in this country so they wouldn't have to deal with them.
Okay, lower income locations.
So we wouldn't even have a drug problem if it wasn't for that.
Lower income locations.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, white people are in the lower income locations too.
But that's why I said lower income locations. But white people are also statistically found to have drugs in their possession. Now, I don't put much.
You want to finish that sentence?
I don't put much.
Statistically, to find
Yes.
so do black people. I mean,
but no, I'm saying statistically by the FBI. I don't put much weight in that because there's more white people than there are other people. So yeah, I would assume so. If there's 5 million white people and 1 million of everyone else, I would assume you will probably catch more white people with drugs than the million of everyone else because there's 5 times as many white people. Mm-hmm. It kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact of that. They still are statistically higher to be found to have drugs on them. This is what it is.
Yeah.
This is what it is. So we could talk about drugs in black neighborhoods. We could also talk about drugs in white neighborhoods. The first person I ever did drugs with was a white boy. The first person I ever bought drugs from was a white boy. And I lived in Chicago in both these instances, so there were a bunch of black people around. As far as I'm concerned, the fucking dope man can be any color. Motherfucker can be purple for all I care. Look like a goddamn leprechaun.
I don't know about all that. I want to check that shit if you're looking like a damn leprechaun.
No, if you high enough, that nigga look like a leprechaun.
I ain't trying to be that high, man. Okay, I might want to return that shit if I'm starting to see leprechauns, motherfucker.
Be like, hey, where's that pot of gold, bro? Where's that pot of gold, bro?
I think we done with this topic right now, ain't we? We on to the next one.
Yeah.
All right, we'll drop this sucker. What we got?
That shit was tiring.
Let's see. That's the point, man. That's the point. Tire your ass out since you want to be all super hype.
Nah, man.
All right.
I was just trying to chill.
No such thing. You wanted a pod. Chill. Here's your pod. All right.
Okay.
We came to pod. That's what you said every time you wanted a pod.
Word. All right then. Let's pod. Let's go.
Especially since somebody had me drive up for no damn reason, empty out a damn vehicle for being there for somebody.
See, that's racist.
Should I do what you say and incorporate the whole story? So this black man calls me.
Why you gotta be black? Why you can't just be a man?
Because the man started with racist in the mind. Other than that, I could have said, hey, I had this buddy call me up.
I didn't say, yo, can you come help me put this in my car because you're fucking Hispanic? That is not what I said. Now, if I'd have said that...
No, you said that. You just said that now. You just said that now.
That's racist. That would be me starting out being racist. If I would have said that while being at Home Depot.
No, your ass first off said,
how
far are you from a Home Depot?
Yes.
What the hell?
Because if you were too far, I wasn't going to ask you. If you're like, yeah, I'm like 20 minutes away, I'd be like, nah, fuck it, I'll find a way. But if you're like, I'm like 5 minutes away... All right, cool. Can you come help me? But if you longer than 5 minutes away,
and nowhere did I
don't
say
leave your house.
Spanish. Oh, speaking of that, let's go ahead and just break that out there. Who works harder, black people or Hispanics?
Depends on who you talk to.
No. Across the board. This is across the board. All U.S.
across the board, like in actuality, or across the board, like
in actuality.
stereotypically?
Both. Yeah, in both. You could say that. In actuality and stereotypically. We already know the stereotype. Go ahead. Just agree with it. Who works harder? Mexicans. Hispanics.
I agree with it, but not for the fact that they're Mexican, though.
Really?
Yeah, I agree with it because when I see Mexicans working, they're always doing like physical shit, like construction or fucking lawn or fucking like remodeling houses and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they're always doing something like with their hands. Like you always see them, they're sweating because they're working hard, because they're out in the elements. Mm-hmm. I see them out in the elements more than fucking anybody.
Cutting your grass.
A white boy cuts my grass.
Oh, no. My apologies. Wrong person. Carson was the one that needed to hit on them.
Right.
Carson.
But because they do a lot of the outdoorsy stuff and they're normally in the heat or in the elements, you know what I'm saying? I will say them. It's not because they're Mexican. It's just because of the jobs that they are willing to do. And I think that black people aren't willing to do those jobs. The same reason why white people are less willing to do those jobs as well, because a lot of us have this American mindset that, we are above that. Mexicans, Hispanics in general, regardless if they came here from Mexico or they were born here, their family dynamic, at least from my understanding from dealing with the Hispanics I have dealt with in my life, is hard work is never taken out of the equation. In American society, hard work is taken out of the equation. You know, they should just give this to you. You earned this. You deserve this. No, you don't deserve shit if you didn't work for it.
That's pretty much what every damn politician's going to come up and, here's what I'm going to give you this year. Here's what I'm going to give you if you vote for me.
Yeah, well, they got to sell themselves. That's a little different. That's like trying to buy a car and not knowing what, they're like, hey, buy this car and it's covered up. You can't see it. You don't know what it does. You fucking rip the damn cover off and it's a goddamn go-kart that you just paid $50,000 for. You gotta show me something. You gotta tell me something. What's the bells and whistles? Like, what are you gonna do to get my attention? So that's a little different in my perspective anyway. I think as a president, you gotta sell yourself.
Yeah, but that's the norm now. Is I'm gonna give you this tax breaks for you. I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna give you this welfare. I'm gonna give you some extra money. That's all it is. Just give. So where is the actual policy? Where's the actual things that don't actually make sense? But that's all people hear is, I'm gonna give you this next year. Right. Vote for me, and here's $1,000 for you. See how that freaking work with what's his name, freaking Asian politician that fell down.
Yeah, right. But that's also another form of systematic oppression, and people don't see that. Welfare is a form of systematic oppression. Everybody on welfare is being oppressed by the system because the system is saying we're going to give you this much money for you to live your life. And the people who are on welfare decided mentally, that's enough money for me to live my life and do what I want to do. They'll never make any more money than that because the government decides how much money you make.
Or you can just
effectively
get a job.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying for the people who are on welfare and don't want to get off. That's what I'm saying. The system is oppressing them because
they're not being oppressed if they don't want to get off.
No, listen. In their mind, if the government says, here's $1,000 a month, they have convinced themselves that $1,000 a month from the government is enough money for them to live their life, right? They have fell into that trap. That's what I mean by oppressed. They convinced themselves that that money is good enough, so they've convinced themselves to not try to do better. I'm saying those type of people, those are the ones being oppressed. The people on welfare who are on welfare because they need to be on welfare, but they have a plan to get off of welfare, they're not in the same boat because they're not going to move the same. I'm talking about the people who have been on welfare since they were like fucking 20 and they're 65. I'm talking about those people. Those people have been suppressed by the system because they allowed the system to say, hey, $1,000, is this good enough for you? And they said, okay. If those people don't say okay, if people on welfare, if part of the welfare system was to implement a plan to where you will only be on welfare for X amount of time, right? If that was part of the welfare system, it'd be so much better because you would have to set them down with a financial counselor of some sort, get their shit together to make it where they are self-dependent. But they don't do that because they want the people in the welfare system to continue to be dependent upon the system. That's what I mean by systematic oppression. The people on welfare, they're so dependent on the system, they can't convince themselves to see anything else. And the system's okay with that because the system knows we can control them based off the amount of money we give them or take away from them. That's what I mean by systematic oppression when it comes to welfare. Because if you think about it, if they help people get off of welfare, would welfare be as a bigger thing? Think about it. If whoever was on welfare was on a 3-year rotation.
That's the point. That's the whole reason. Hell yeah, I want everybody off of welfare.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. But what does the welfare system do to help people do that? They don't do anything. They just give them money and go ahead and do it.
Career options there.
But they're optional. They're not required. Okay. But that's what I'm saying. Make it a requirement so people get off of welfare. If you want people off of welfare, you have to give them options if you want them off.
And the options are there.
Right, but you have people who are going to mooch off the system. Those are the people I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm not talking about people with common sense who understand that shit. I'm talking about the people who mooch off the system, the people that everyone complains about.
Then that's not oppression. If the options are there, if they convince themselves that they're dolphins, then by all means they're dolphins. But that's their own opinion. You're saying they're not getting the options to move up. Guess what? Their options are there. But if they feel dumb enough not to move up, then that's on them.
But if the option was required, like right now, if I was to go to the VA and get Chapter 34 benefits, right, for them to pay for me to go to school, it is a requirement that I take a what's that shit called? When you work at the job but you don't get paid for it. What's that? Internship. It's required that I take an internship in the field that I'm going to school for. It's required that I finish school and my grades are a certain thing. It is required that I then get a job in that field. But part of that thing is they were going to make sure that someone helps me get that job. So they don't waste their money that they just spent on me to get this education. The VA can do that for veterans. They force you to.
Okay.
Welfare can do that. They choose not to. That's what I'm saying. If it's a requirement, you never can get that person in the mindset, well, this $1,000 a month is okay. If you make it a requirement that they have to do better, you're going to get 1 to 2 people. People who are going to come in the system and get out of the system because they were only doing it temporarily. And then you're going to get a lot of people who get kicked off of welfare because they're not trying to better themselves. If we're talking about getting people out of welfare, now we're looking at fucking bettering society as a whole. Because everyone who complains about welfare, what's the main complaint? I pay taxes for these people to fucking mooch off my money and not do shit, right? That's the main thing. So force the people who don't want to do shit to do shit. That's how successful things work in the military.
But you can't call it an oppression, though.
No, I'm saying that their mindset makes it an oppressive mindset because they're not thinking outside the box, is what I'm saying. If someone convinces themselves that they can't, if I put you in a box and I tell you you can't get out, and I continue to tell you that, and I convince you can't get out the box, when all you got to do is stand up, I'm oppressing you because I've allowed you to convince yourself you can't get out the box. If I'm telling you can't get out the box, or if I don't tell you the box is unlocked, if I put you in the box and I don't tell you the box is unlocked, and to stay in the box until I come and unlock it.
That's an unreasonable statement you said right there, because they have the option to do it. They are told at the very beginning.
You have the option to stand up and get out the box, but if I don't tell you you have that option, I just tell you to stay in the box, and
but
you
they
listen
get
to
told.
me.
That's what I'm saying. Is they get told.
Yes, and I tell you can get out the box.
Okay.
I'm saying, get in this box, don't get out the box, but you'll get out the box. And
no, that's not. If you're gonna show an example, do it right, man. Okay, the example would be you tell me to get in the box. Hey, you have the option to get out of the box if you want.
That's what I'm saying. If I say you can get out the box, you get
out the box.
But if you don't get out the box and you stay in the box, then what?
Then that's my choice. I had an option to get out the box. I can get out the box anytime I want, just like they can go ahead and get a career when they freaking want to start their career. So I'm missing the oppression part when they're getting told that information.
All right, I'm gonna break this down super easy. How I have to do with everybody else. Oppression doesn't necessarily mean someone's forcing you to do something. When a person is oppressed, that is a mental mindset.
Okay.
That tells you tell yourself you can't do this. So if the government says, hey, here's some money, you can use this program to get a job, but you don't have to.
Okay, right? They were just told. No. Right. Listen to what you just said.
Let me finish.
I'm letting you finish. I just want you to hear what the fuck you just said.
I heard what the fuck I just said because I said it. You choose to keep that $1,000 that the government is giving you, and you never look the other direction. If the government keeps feeding you $1,000, you're gonna keep living your life off that $1,000 because you know it's guaranteed money.
Okay.
Meaning you eventually. The people who stay on welfare, eventually they stop thinking about the options because they want the guarantee, because the option isn't guaranteed. That's another form of a way to oppress someone, also known as manipulation, if you want to go to the psychiatry route. You can oppress someone by manipulation. You don't have to physically hold them down. You don't have to physically put a law into place. You can oppress someone mentally by allowing them or putting them in a condition to allow them to think that $1,000 is the best option they have, regardless of what other options are around. If that $1,000 dwindled to $800, then dwindled to $700, and then dwindled to $500, maybe it would change their mindset because like, oh shit, I don't have as much money as I did before. I got to do something. If it's after 3 months, you're required to go into this class, then you'll get 3 months and then either go to the class or get off. The same thing with unemployment. Unemployment don't last forever. What do you have to do for unemployment? You got to fucking prove that you're applying for jobs. You only have it for fucking so long. And then after that, if you don't have a job, guess what? You got to reapply again in hopes that they give it to you. So why can't there be something like that on welfare? Otherwise, if unemployment was like welfare, imagine how many people would be on unemployment just chilling. If the money was the same as it was on welfare, if you could still fucking qualify for WIC and all this other shit while you were on unemployment, like you can on welfare, you can get on welfare and have the government supplement your whole life.
If you wanted to stay at a lower level. Yes.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. And to
you
some
choose
people,
to see,
right, but to some people, we have to understand this. To some people, that's a better life than what they got. And we'd be naive as a people to think otherwise. You've seen people that have had nothing. You know damn well, you see someone pushing a goddamn cart, not having a place to stay. You know damn well if they got on Section 8 welfare and fucking food stamps, they'd feel like they were living like a fucking king. And there's no telling if they would be okay with that or not. You don't know what their fucking ambitions is. But if they don't have any ambition, they're going to live like that forever because it's so much better than what they had. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to make it so tempting for a person to stay there, that's like fucking saying, hey, go to the Garden of Eden. You can never talk to anybody again, but it's the Garden of Eden. You will have anything you can ever wish for. That's a hard thing to fucking walk away from. It's like I can have everything I ever wished for, but I can't talk to anybody anymore. Or I can live in my life, and if your life is worse than what it sounds like the Garden of Eden is, you might choose the Garden of Eden. If your life is better than that, then you probably won't. That's what I'm saying. The people whose lives are worse than that, and they go to the welfare system, their Garden of Eden, if they're not forced to think outside the box after a certain time, they're going to stay there because it's their Garden of Eden.
Till they eat the apple.
Exactly. But what's the apple in this point? You smoke weed and fucking fail a piss test? Not 100%. That's what I'm saying.
No, the apple is their fucking dreams, and they're not taking a bite out of it.
But that's what I'm saying. There's nothing to tempt them to take that apple.
So there's nothing to tempt them to bite that. I have to tempt your life. I have to tempt your being at this point.
They're in the Garden of Eden, the perfect environment for them. You want them to leave what they perceive as a perfect environment and to go into another environment that has the possibility of being better by them taking a bite out of that apple. If there's nothing tempting them to take the bite of the apple, why would they ever leave something that's perfect for them for a possibility of something better.
But they did take the bite.
No, they took the fucking acceptance into the garden. They didn't take the bite to get out of the garden into the real world. You gotta understand. God said, "Don't eat the apple because it will show you the real world." It'll, they would know that they're naked, and they would know they have all the knowledge of the world, right? The evils and the goods, right? Inside the Garden of Eden, their life is perfect. So sit in the Garden of Eden, have a perfect life. Don't eat the apple. You eat the apple, you learn what the real world is, and you're on your own. Welfare, to the people who are on welfare, who love welfare, who will never get off of welfare, that is their Garden of Eden. That optional career path that they can take, that is the apple. There are certain people who bite the apple and hopefully they go off to do better things. But the people who are stuck in welfare, to them, they're in the Garden of Eden, and that apple don't mean shit. So if that apple does not have something tempting to catch their attention, they will never look at that fucking apple. That's exactly what I'm saying, because to them, they have the perfect life. That's why I'm saying if you can convince someone that their life is perfect and you don't do anything to tempt them to do something different, that is a form of manipulation or oppression in my eyes.
All right.
That's all. That's why I say oppression. And that's why I think there should be a time limit or some shit. It should be like unemployment. You should only be able to fucking be on welfare for X amount of time and then you're just on your own. Fuck it.
That's all you.
Look, I ain't never been on welfare. Wait, have I? I don't know. I know I personally have never been on welfare. I don't know if my family, if like my dad or my stepmom or my mom was around welfare. I don't think so. I don't know. My dad sold cars for as long as I can remember. So.
You need to fix your mic shit, man. You fucking it up over here.
How?
I don't know, but ever since you put the damn headset on, now all I hear is feedback and random shit on the side.
Oh, it's probably because the headset's in.
It's like I don't get how hard a mic is here these days.
No, because my computer, whenever I plug in a new mic input, it'll switch it to that one. But I couldn't hear the video without my headset. Otherwise, it would have echoed. And I'd rather have the echo on my headset than have the echo on my mic.
Man, we're at 1 hour and 3, man. What the fuck?
We only talked about 2 things.
No fucking shit. And let you rant over for like half an hour. I don't even know what the fuck the second topic is, man.
Spin the wheel.
Has it been the second topic?
Yeah. I don't know if that one was on the wheel, but that was definitely a second.
What man, we were still on the same damn KKK shit, man. Whatever. There you go. Fab and Jada.
Oh, the versus battle.
No shit, man. It's up there too if you want to hit that up.
Man. Hold on, let me pull up the track list. I
got the video up too. Okay.
Oh. Let me pull up the track list right quick.
Jada won, don't care, call it a day. I even blasted across this whole thing. Fuck it.
Trying to see where's the track list. All right. So
Jada. Simple as that, man.
I actually watched it.
Yeah.
And Jada won, but Fab could have won.
No, because all of his stuff was features too. A lot of his stuff were features, and half of those things shouldn't even have Jada or have freaking Fabulous as a freaking key point of the freaking song. I forgot which one it was that it was just damn. I forgot who it was, and Jada was just like shitty ass freaking lyrics, and then the hook was somebody else completely different.
Yeah, but Jada was in the Locks, and the Locks was featured. The first song he used was Blackout, which was a DMX song.
Okay, but I'm not talking about every other freaking track that freaking Fab put up there.
Jada didn't have.
Jada put a couple features in.
The Made You Look remix, probably one of the hardest songs ever made. That's a Nas song. That's a Nas record. Jada and Luther used it. They all use features. I don't like the fact that they use features, but they all use them.
If it features with you having more in there than the damn feature, then
Well,
yes, I
all
get.
right.
But when you put freaking somebody else in the 90% of the track is remembered by just the freaking drop.
Okay,
No.
so this is what we'll do then. So let's see how many features each one put. All right.
Oh, you got the track list.
So the first was Blackout verse. You Ain't Got Nothing. Both features. It was a feature for Jada because he's on the Locks. It was a feature for Fab because Blackout was a DMX song and You Ain't Got Nothing was a Lil Wayne song. The next song was the Locks Recognized versus 6 Minutes. That was a feature for Fab. So there's 2 features for Fab, 1 for Jada. Round 3. It was features for both. So that's 2 for Jada and 3 for Fab. Where's my pen? I read this now. I'm forget. So 2 for Jada and 3 for Fab. Next song was By Your Side by Jada and Trade It All Part 2. That was not a feature on anyone. The next was Locks, All for the Love. Fab, I'ma Do It, not a feature. Round 6, not a feature. Chest to Chest versus Keeping It Gangsta. Round 7, Rough Riders, World War III against Gangsters Don't Play, not a feature. Round 8, a feature for Jada, not a feature for Fab. So they're tied 3-3. Round 9, no features. Round 10, features for both. So that's 4-4. Round 11, was a feature for Jada, not Fab. So that's 5 for Jada, 4 for Fab. Round 12 was a feature for both. Round 13 was not a feature for neither one. Round 14, not a feature for neither one. Round 15, no feature. Round 16, another feature for Jada with All About the Benjamins remix. Round 17, another feature for Jada with the Back to Life 2001 with DJ Clue, Mary J. Blige. Round 18, no feature. Round 19 was another feature for Jada on Diamond in the Rough remix. That was a Jaheim song. Round 20 was no feature. So in actuality, Jada had 9 features to Fab 5 features in this battle. So if we're gonna talk about anybody having features,
now, start off with the first 3. How many of those features actually had Fab as the actual freaking sole artist, not just the fucking like the hook was the actual reason for those songs?
You Ain't Got Nothing. Fab had 16, I believe, in that song, the same as Jada with the Locks. Jada might have had 8 because it was with the Locks, if I'm not mistaken. He had DMX, the Locks, and Jay-Z on one record. He might have had 8. The second song, that Cassidy song, I think he had 8. He wasn't a very prominent voice on that, but the second song was against Jada's Recognized, which was a Lock song. The third round, Jada, Nas, and Luda all had the same amount of time on the track, and Fabulous Man had less time on the track. So out of the first 3 rounds, I would call it even, because of just like, I mean, Jada has the Locks and Jay-Z and DMX. Come on now. He's fire, but DMX on a DMX song and Jay-Z, do you honestly think that he's going to get more airplay than Jay-Z and DMX on DMX's song?
I mean, the motherfucker
While being in the group.
As long as he ain't barking it up, he ain't got to do shit, man.
That's kind of, I'm just saying, it's just with the people on it, it's kind of hard with the length of the song for someone to be on for so long. Like in the Made You Look remix, Jada's verse fucking fire. I like Luda's verse on that song better personally, but Jada's verse is fire. So that's why I would call it even. Because fucking Fab is on fucking, when he's on the feature with somebody who's like 6 motherfucking on that bitch. So But
fucking time we got here, man. We
I don't know.
40.
I just think Fab could have played some songs that.
What's the
he
pointage?
didn't play.
Who did the official pointage on this crap? Who they say won at the end?
Well, according to this website.
Hmm.
According to this website.
As we begin.
Let's see if it tallies it up at the end. If I'm gonna have to sit here and count it.
Probably, yeah. Sit there.
It has the final score 15-9 to 2 Jada Kiss is what it has.
What?
But I think they did extra songs afterwards. I think it's counting those songs.
Gave me 3 numbers, 15, 9, and 2.
Yeah, like Jada had 15 song, 115.
There you go. 9.
Fab 1 9, and then they tied 2 rounds. But I think that's also counting the overtime with the extra songs. They only do 20 songs.
All right, give them the damn songs.
So.
All right, so argument there. No argument there.
Yeah.
One. Bam.
The overtime that, like, if Fab would have played some of the songs he played after the battle, during the battle, he'd have had a better chance because he played a lot of shit that people thought he should have played.
Yeah, well, he was on that fucking shit that whole time. Both of them were.
Oh yeah.
It was like, man, I'm about to dance. I'm about to dance.
And then people were saying that Breathe and We Gon' Make It was a tie. I'm sorry. To me, Breathe was a bigger song.
Breathe, yeah.
Breathe was a way bigger song than We Gon' Make It. Like, We Gon' Make It, I can listen to like once or twice. Breathe, I'll bump that today. I'll bump Breathe today. Breathe. 1 into the 2, 2 into the 3.
I'm not gonna
3
skip
into
it.
the 4. Then you gotta. What? That song just hit different. That song hit different.
Like I said, I guess I wouldn't skip through it.
Yeah. Like, I think he should have played Can't Let You Go way earlier.
Yeah.
Yo, that song was fire, bro. Come on. That song was straight fire. You can't lie. That over Ride or Die, bitch. I mean, yeah, he won that round, but he could have played that so much earlier. He could have played Superwoman. Superwoman was fucking fire. He didn't play Superwoman at all, yo. At all. How?
I don't know, man.
He could have played Say Ah. I don't give a fuck if it's a feature. Say Ah. What?
I think he was just trying to avoid all the industrial hype ones, man.
He should have. Those are some of his best songs, bro. He played. Look, he fucking played the Throw It in the Bag remix that he did to Lil Wayne's No Ceilings beat. That shit go hard. That shit go hard.
We done with this crap, man. We done.
All we do is stack until we drop. All we do is shop until we drop.
We're gonna do this next time.
I'm gonna listen. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to that album. As a matter of fact, I'm pull that shit up. That shit.
We'll do this later, man.
That shit fire.
Next time I guess to do that shit live, man.
Da shit fire.
Just start playing it track by track, and we debate this shit on.
Oh, this is just for me. This ain't for that. This is.
No, I'm saying for next time since this.
I got no ceilings. Ooh.
We got more topics, but I'm pretty much done for tonight, Pam.
Or. Then that is what it is.
You got already over there about to hype yourself up in the next freaking chapter for the next couple hours at least.
That's just fire. That track's fire. But anyway, so that's all for tonight's episode. Thank you guys for listening, tuning in, watching. I appreciate you. We'll be back again next week, same time, same channel.
Hey, randomly.
Until then.
Hey, randomly.
What's up?
Do fat people get kidnapped?
Maybe by a fatter person. I don't think a regular sized person is going to kidnap a fat person.
Just leaving the thought.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like, I'm not kidnapping a fat person.
I mean,
like, I'm not weak. I'm not weak, but I ain't got time for that shit.
Is that what we need to do to avoid being kidnapped? Just gain some weight?
Who the fuck got kidnapped?
Yeah, just throwing it out there. I just came to mind. I was like, I don't know about a lot of fat people get kidnapped.
Why are you thinking about being kidnapped?
No, I'm thinking.
Is everything okay in your life?
Well, I ain't getting kidnapped. I got me some weight.
Well, I got a 9 with enough rounds to say I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna get kidnapped no time soon.
Maybe 2 of us.
But anyway, off that tangent. This is the DOP Podcast signing off again for another episode. Thank you guys for joining in. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting. Hope you have a wonderful 4th of July. Be safe. Don't blow yourself up. Don't light your neighbor's house on fire. And do not attach your Roman candle to a drone, fly around the neighborhood, and shoot it at people. That is dangerous. Don't do that. This is your boy, KickRocks268, and the DOP Podcast signing off. Catch you later. Much love. Peace out. Deuces. Chill. Hasta la vista. Hasta luego. Get out my face.
Trying to hit this
Get
mute
out
button.
this beezy. Oh, I don't know.